What's happening, guys? Take a look at Facebook today. Just want to do a small recap of what we did late day Friday here, and give you my late day trade here. I can't really trade Friday morning, so a lot of the time I'll see some action during the end of the power hour or something like that. And this is the trade I took today in power hour, and kind of go through why. Today's current day, Friday. You had a lot of interactions with trend lines today. All these trend lines are marked out from daily supports and resistances that we did the initial gap down day when we traded Facebook. This one being the most important one, this yellow guy here came into play today. I kind of seen this starting to create this higher low here, and after recovered the 9, I was long right around this 173.80s area and rode it up to 175. So had a nice little 1.5 gain on that on a couple hundred shares, so that was a good ending to my day. Why did I take that trade? We're going to look at the initial gap down on Facebook on the 5-day, 5-minute chart here. The reason I have this gold line marked off is you see I really like wick support and resistance. When there's multiple wicks that line up together, like something like this, I always tend to mark that off for later use, especially with all the, I like to leave all these lines up here because these things come into play within the next 5 to 8 days, especially after a big gap down play when everything's deciding where it's going to go. So this had a double wick here, interesting with a candle split on the downside here. Reject, came up, reject, also had a rejection here, close under and back under. So this was kind of a very strong rejection point. So if you look at that gold line through the first day gap up, it had a nice bounce at the end of the day as well, and even more rejection points pre-market that gap down day, right? So we're going to come to the current day Friday here and see where this gold line's playing out, because I really like to use these golden lines. I'm going to start marking these off with color for you because I know where they are, but this is a little bit easier for you guys to call with color. So the wick supports are always going to be yellow. Okay, so as we opened up today, had a rejection of the 200 EMA, closed under the VWAP in 50. This would have been a beautiful short, very nice, very limited risk here. Came all the way down, broke through yesterday's close, very bearish. Set up on one of our daily support lines here, 175.30, kind of looped that, came above, started to break down, bearish. There's your re-entry, could have re-shorted the pop. Double pop right here to fail, because if it wasn't prominently recovering and reversing at 175.87 here at the split, it wasn't going back up. So bearish down to the bottom. So we got support down here, looked like at about 172.97, came back up, and again we got some wicks here on our yellow engagements. If you remember before, we had a bunch of resistance at this yellow line multiple times during pre-market of the gap down, and where I have these chart out after hours. So super big rejection point, right? So as we started to recover under this, we had another rejection playing a big W here. Okay, see the W chart? That's one of my favorite patterns. So as it came down, found support, hit its head, rejected. I was going to look for a higher low. So I just kind of peeked at Facebook today as I came on. I noticed it had a higher low, starting to trend up towards the 9. Came up. On this pullback where it started to recover the 9, I took it 173.70s area here, and hoping to continue the big W, and this time through the 50 and to this trend line at least was target. Took off a little early, came off right about here at 175, I think. So within that 30-cent range, I was really trying to get it up there. So as we got about a point out of it, I think all together, because we started position down here, added in on the hold and break of the gold line, which is very bullish. Then she snapped right through the 50 and went up. The reason why I kind of had this target shy of this trend line is this resistance here comes into play a little bit earlier than our long-term resistance line, which happens to be from the daily. Okay, so a lot of the time intraday I'm going to be looking for something that it's trying to break back over, which it did not. So this was kind of like my area of big resistance, and why I took it off here instead of waiting to see if it was going to come up and test our daily resistance and shy, because it shied that 100 pretty sharply on the 5 minutes. So yeah, that's just I just want to cover you guys and go over why I use the wicks in pre-market and aftermarket. And of course, and the opening prices. This purple line is going to come into play sometime in the next week here. This 185 level, 184.87 to be exact. So this opening level is going to be. I'm hoping that it's going to recover here in the next couple of days. Like I left a few shares on Facebook to swing the rest because it recovered the 50 nicely at the end and was kind of riding the 9. So I'm like, it looks okay. It might break the 100, come back down. I was hoping to find support at the lowest of the gold line yet again, where the wicks were, and kind of bounce back and continue up. But we're going to mark off the initial gap downs open. Okay, the initial gap downs opening price. right here for the new day at 184.87. So you're going to see this come into play within the next few days here. Once this recovers moving averages, this will be a big rejection point. So something to keep in mind. So just want to do a small recap on Facebook and give you the thought process behind, again, using the wicks in pre-market and after hours, and give you a small recap. I'll see you next week, guys.